Friends in the Lord, I am happy to share with you today the meeting procedures, and we're looking at leadership. Leadership. We're looking at leadership. There's a situation to be considered. We are considering a particular situation. We are considering a particular situation that in the church today, we see some young people who were born, who were baptized as Presbyterians, as Christians, but they just don't want to hear anything about Christ again. They just don't want to attend church again. Both in Ghana and abroad, churches are losing people. And the greater percentage is the young people. They are losing people out of the church. Scholars like Waters in a PhD, complain about the lack of timekeeping. And so straight away, Waters was able to say, okay, fine. It's because the church is not keeping to time. We don't respect time. Again, he says that it's because of poor leadership. And he found out that, okay, well, maybe there's lack of motivation. And again, he says lack of care. We don't care about them. We don't care about the people. And then again, one thing that other scholars like Jones, like Kodia, like Corte also brought was the outdated liturgy. Now, Kodia, like this, did a study in the Presbyterian church. Corte, again, also did his church in the Presbyterian setting, in Legon. And we see Christian College, Kodia, also did a study looking at it from, again, he compared the Methodist Church with the Presbyterian Church. And Jones also did it in the context of America. And they said outdated liturgy. Liturgy, also the young people are it's a study. Okay, so that's the situation. Let's look at situation number 2. The situation number 2 has also to do with the fact that attendance at the younger generation's activities has been extremely low. And that is the earlier studies. They said that younger generation, the attendance to church is low. They say in some cases, many of them have left the church entirely, blaming it on lack of modernization and leadership challenges in the church. You see, Chandler, DeVries, Vitisia, all of them, and these are international scholars, all of them have said that leadership is a crisis. So why I'm bringing this situation is that all of them, can say, and sorry now, and caution, a lack of modernization. Titi niamanwa, titi niamani ya titi. Is a way na hwenye. Ade fufuro bie ni. Niama bie won bia data. Tenunti amount of young people especially are not coming to church. For example, again, then they said leadership challenge. And considering even the face of Waters, he brought timekeeping and all this one would and poor leadership. He brought the poor leadership as a factor. Let me get a pointer and make it clear to you. Look at this. He also brought poor leadership, and this poor leadership is supported by Jones, supported by Kodia, and supported by Corti. They all brought it. Said, look, I did actually for 4 years, 5 years, and you say, I saw no cost because of some factors. See, in another development, Oshe, San Crawford, they are all these are all international people. For example, DeVries, or international scholar, Vicentia is an African scholar. And again, if you look at Chandler say, no, Australia, and bringing this to say it's a leadership crisis in church. Leadership, when you for the amano, and say to me, as some woman. Situation number 3. Visit Asamba Kabium said the age group between 50 to 35 has dropped from the church. And this is the situation. So because sorry, no say bro, say be nyado. Penifon kwa na wom. Penifon in the sense say, omo mo retirement kwa na. Now bisa say, what is the problem? And our main study ya na eba be say, ɛdeɛ bɛ na ɛbɛyɛ na tumi anya mmabun no na wɔn atumi abɛka yɛn ho because penny ɔno na di no 40, 50, 60 ɔno deɛ ɔyɛ convinced that so mba sɔrɔ ne bia biribi adwuma bi na ɛsi ne kwan na yɛde bi na ɛsi ne kwan but the young people now wɔn ba no na ɛsɛ find a way to which to bring them on board. Jones again, in page 125, or give you say, in cases where young people are denied the opportunity to use their leadership skills, they leave the church. So the situation trainer has also added, say, see, young peninsula, not young people, and you show more talent and you show more skills, they leave the church, which is true. I have clear indication. So if you don't engage the Herbert, engage the Kevins, engage the Fifis, engage the Benjamins, engage the Reggies, if you don't engage their skills, you will not see them. When you say no money to do, say engage your mom be they will leave the church. And I say, friends, sorry, come because of battle by time no onye bibia anye nyame krofo ade we ade a ehu hia pa o say ye de nyame asisi ate sa de we say this is what we need to do to build the church. What kills our church today? Let's use quantitative survey. Now the quantitative survey no group nyama ni no now I check the bar first, the bar second by using the agree, disagree, not too sure, like that, strongly agreed and all that. So that's a quantitative to really look at it. Say, nipa saying, and I can say, no, calling in a real, and I can say, lack of competent leadership. Lack of competent leadership. So leadership means you're competent. It will not attract. For me, a friend who could jump on also a research. No, the research or the 16 factors by or publish academia letters. And what can say out of the 16 factors, they are related to yen the sabri. Come to Awuku-Gyampoh or say a lack of youth leadership. So yes, are from penny for no youth no grapple. Just said the style I did here then youth no promote map out. And bread do near far junior. Sebe ye knew munchain we don't really have a feel. So I did ever see we are outdated. We know a year 1875. Naka Sabri 2024. This is how we should go. And the hypocritical attitude of members. Nyachum. Any nim wasafo maybe muntino and masorno nkoso. And poor youth activities. There's no activity be no better so where the ne JY4 koha echna children's 4 koha echna YPG4 year way. There are no activities for the youth. Again, lack of motivation from the other group and a love relationship within the youth group. This one, the one said, Ubu Honma or Yoba Kosia Bekajan said, Onya on any better or see you. Na ya nso abeka or see you. Na Kufi any question so about see you. And I baby so what or no or Tino call Kwesiwa or Tino call draw. The next day no call Yao. The next day no call Fiao. The next day no back a Fiao. And no so basanwa. Esan se one ya atena senti. So one ya ni ho biom a ya mpese obebe group nim and obeba asoro na ni aba bebo no so. Eno nso tumi ma enipa no ja sorry. These are research. These are findings that we have brought about. As leaders of the church, you have to be aware of things that break the church. Be aware of things that break the church. Then, so that what is our aim of doing what we are doing? We want to assess how human influences, how our caring, the pastor-youth relation, the youth-based leadership, how those things can impact the attraction and retention of the young adults in the Presbyterian Church. Yeah, this year, I said, a dear bank, quite with your vessel. And my year, leaders, no, yeah, sorry to me, of course. I pray, sir, at the end of our presentation, we all come into a consensus to understand what we need to do. Findings number one. And usually in every study, you bring the assumption. Right. Realize that the absence of genuine leadership. For me, I've done the findings already. I've done the study already, so I can let you know what you are expecting. Say, the absence of genuine leadership was a second challenge in the youth church drift. Say, genuine leadership, lead the be fake. As was no account. As was so that no one will come once. If we don't have genuine leadership, we will not have a growing church. Let's move on. So, finding number two. It was revealed that most church leaders are not well organized. They are not well organized. They have two different ways of life. What they preach at church is at odds with the life they live in society. Say the panel beba, obaga se men kontokwa, obaga go to no shopping mall no kontokwa. Oni panel beba, obaga je se men jawari, obaga no aka je se me kra ma ore me worry you. So what we present ourselves in the church must be the same that we present outside or preach outside. Because this is a revelation. There are two phases of life. I better way, I did not come say, me, okay, because I'm recording, I can't give this example because it's a very dangerous one. But it's true. It's true. For example, let me give this up. It was a meeting, and I usually love to record my meeting. At a meeting, someone said something. And then I wrote it. The following time when I presented the thing, the person was challenging me. I said, hey, look, if it's only a colleague in the bro, if it's only a colleague in the what can they mature was one case. And I'm call back and I'm screenshot to it. And I'm demand. I said, oh, sorry, I mean, can I say me can you? So what would you lie? If you have said this thing, why are you lying? Say you didn't say it. Or feminine. So we must always make sure, sir, we listen to ourselves when we are talking. Because whatever we say will be accredited to us, positively or negatively, as leaders. What is leadership? What is leadership? Leadership is exhibited by completing a given task. For me, I feel that this definition is the best because what's a leader? Who is a leader? A leader is the one that completes a given task to achieve a desired goal. So, botany de si wani so. So utumi boy na botany yetumi yensa tumi yeduru sa botany ho a na kyerɛ sɛ yen ye ni si afisi ewi nti wo na wodi yen kan ne atumi aye nti wo ye leader until you are able to lead the people to their destination you cannot be called a leader. So the ability to accomplish a task, the ability to meet a task makes you a leader. Every leader is accounted based on the accomplishment. And it's to me to Obama leader be yes, leader Oba wanye free. And you leader wanye free. Obra it's because there is no vision. It's because they don't have a desired goal. They don't have a desired destination. Baby and war person walk. We won't be a walk to mean true also. As leaders about to be commissioned, have a desired goal. Why am I using gold for gold? have a desired destination. For BBC when it's for BBC and this is in fear na the enemy. Onyame yadoma at the end of 2024. Ibidi members nanim ayewe. 2025 ibidi omonim ayewe. 26 ebe yewe. Onyame yadoma 27 ayewe. And no now we say session we there. Free so that the ability to complete a task makes you a leader. Once again, what is leadership? I may look at the unity at the forefront for the side. So we have this, the name is Ruth Awuku-Gyampoh. Ruth Awuku-Gyampoh is an Australian, and she teaches as a professor. She teaches at the Sydney University, one of the best universities in the country of Australia. She's convinced that leadership is sacrificial. Leadership is devotional. Leadership is not selfish. According to this research, leadership said, "Nipan de no ho ba for it. Nti me de me ni pede nyina e ba for ya ma. Fa me ye ni a wo pe a o ewrade." You see, you dedicate yourself, say, "Ewrade me de mo ba for ya ma." Every weekend, and every week, me did that crazy was a member sorry. My medical 3 hours. A Juma be over be, I would do it unto God. This is sacrificial. Leadership is not, oh, now we may again a minya. Minya shedia, mamin trim home, cover. You need to sacrifice. Be able to sacrifice. Put yourself down and say, me do want buff for yama. So sometimes I get people telling me, oh, bread. Yes, I understand. Who is available to help? Who has come so, Papa? And then Monday, Papa, who is coming over? Who is helping? And so you have to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. Sometimes I move from drawing a program to preparing sermon to arranging the chapel, to cleaning the chapel, to changing the clothes, and oh gosh. Man, sorry for you, sir. Monday to Sunday, me wo Friday, the Friday between 12 to 4 p.m. It was sorry for you. God is looking for people who will be sacrificial leadership, who will be ready to sacrifice something and give. Sometimes when I'm in oh, I know that they were at work, and I'm shady panel. And I do it. It's a common page of free. This is what my has say. We forget to say there's only one person that cleans the entire place. One person, or mobile, to cleaning, to taking garbage, to removing. It is up to us as people who will be given to the various group as group reps to mobilize the group and say, this Saturday is for us. We're going over to work in the house of God. I pray that Awuku-Gyampoh's suggestion, it's a whole book that she wrote, very powerful book. We will use it to build on our ministry. In the types of leadership, permit me to rely on Richard Osman. Richard Osman is a practical theologian, in fact, a professor, and he has developed the practical way of building a church. The practical is a practical theologian, and I believe, sir, the suggestions would help us. Yeah, he's a theologian, and in his book which he wrote in 2008, reading from the page 1762 to page 178, he defined leadership as this: according to him. Leadership is derived from three strong areas. Three strong areas. And the areas are: one, tax competence, transactional leadership, and transformational leadership. And this is a theory on its own. They are theories. The tax competence is a theory. The transactional leadership is a theory. And the transformational leadership is also a theory. But we will not get time to go into all, but let me just give you synopsis of what a tax competence is and what a transactional leadership is. So that at the end of the day, you're able to pick which kind of leadership style you are bringing on board. Are you bringing the task competence, the transactional, or the transformational? Okay, so let's go. The task competence. The TC deals with the extent to which leaders administer their role brilliantly. Yeah, the leaders administer their role so intelligently in any given organization. Nti, woyɛ nipa no clear car. Obeye adwuma no ma ɛho ate pɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛpɛ. Oma nipa no senior president obeye me ho ate pɛpɛpɛpɛpɛ. Woyɛ nipa no asafopani a de bia bɛhu sɛ asafopɛnfoɔ no nyinaa mu no de bia ɔba sɔre ntɛm. Wobɛba no na wapɛ biribi a ɔreyɛ. Wobɛba no wobɛhu sɛ ɔyɛ occupied. So the tax competence, the leader makes sure say role ne diama no ɔyɛ ma ɛho fe papapapapapapa. The tax competence skill is employed in performing a given task that determines the person competence in the building of the church. Nti we no ɛna abɛhu sɛ nipa wei deɛ yɛhwɛ asafo mpanimfoɔ no mu a wotu wo sɛ nipa wei adwuma no ɔpɛ paa ɔpɛ adwuma no paa. Onim sɛ every Sunday, first Sunday biara no yɛkɔ communion. Onim sɛ yɛkɔ communion nti no 10 o'clock. By 9 no gyina sɔre down. Adentia, because we need to prepare the communion elements. Onim sɛ first Sunday of every month no yɛkura communion elements no ɛde kɔ asɔdɛm de di kɔ afɔ akyi. Nti ɔno no wacha 9:30 no gyina hɔ a wɔbɛso biribi mu yɛde akɔ asɔdɛm. Ɔmma late no no asafani bɛba no na communion wei no yɛakɔpɛ nkurɔfo foforɔ a wɔnyɛ asafanifoɔ mpo sɛ wɔmmra mmɛsu adeɛ no mu yɛmfa nkɔ ɛdan mu hɔ. Na wɔno a wɔde nseɛ aka ntam kɛseɛ wɔ Nyankopɔn ne witnesses ɔde wɔn baa n'anim. Adwuma no koraa wɔnyɛ. God is looking up to us. The task that God has given us, we will attach competence in building his church. That is a task for you. So you have some people, the same people, no one year do mega so buy a cram. Meaning say, I saw you some performing some perform, then so sacrifice and performing the mudin to her. Yempa sebe, Yawahamaisi, bet me I can say, wait your bite to me, or Jeduma papa. Maybe you'll be so hard, the Coboni Diaga so, oh, be a who you're or no better as a middleman who you're Gami bomb pie or yes, Christo, dear Musa, and can this bad one. People. We are not pleasing people. We are not pleasing people. But I can confirm to about my record say yes, we didn't waste our vote. We never wasted our vote. But we have really done what God has asked us to do. The next one has to do with transactional. As the name implies, transactional. Well, when you are transacting something, you are transacting. It's like between one person, between two people, party A, party B, transactional, as the name implies, is a capacity to influence followers through adjustments which involves mutual benefits. Transactional. For example, I didn't know because you're be inducted. To be inducted into office no would mean say, as I said, you train baby and son, it means inducted. Nti, no, fine. Me, my knowledge, no. But the same way, no. Also, I would hear, no. What they call ye baby, a requirement. Sound son, I did my best show, son. I was here, chill, baby. No, the Nipan so ma, obe lose. In transactional leadership, no, you are making the adjustment. Say, nka wo be you, and so Java because there's benefits. It is a shared value where one reciprocates an offer. So in a bit, the business gurus would say that you do one thing and expect something in return. This is transactional. This is transactional. Until me, you know, until the same thing. You as an asafpeni, so you were Juma asafpeni, you know, onipa no a ɔno nso ɔsom no obɛhu adwuma a wayɛ. Obɛhu n'adwuma a wayɛ. Anyɛ biribi apɔ no, ɔbɛka sɛ wei ne m'asafpeni. Ɔbɛbɔ mpaeɛ ama ɔbɛda Awurade ase sɛ ɔto aba ma wo. So you receive not in a physical benefit, but there are spiritual benefit also for it. Because oh yes, I mean every pastor is a pastor, but I go way beyond my responsibilities. I do all the secretarial job. She said, I'm telling you, I have two separate secretaries around the world. I pay them by the grace of God from my own pocket. Yes. I was telling the chairperson yesterday, and you would say, so for me, yes, I need the work done. The work must be done. And whatever I have to do to ensure that my work is done, it must be done. Because another day, I'll not go and tell someone because I didn't get time to do. And so people don't understand. Oh, I can clerk of presbytery, also become district minister and become minister. If you can't do it, shut up. Hey, I will say this without any apology. Because the book one, my man, I sorry back to me. So, oh, dear, now we're in a sham. Back up at the man, no, want to me. So, but no, any do, dear, now we're in the There's only a couple more energy. God must give you the energy to do it and put them to shame. Say, it is God that transcends. It's God that gives the power. When that happens, you have to use your resources. Resources and you for the amount. It's all the year Juma. And yes, can be an about some of you. Yes, can be an edema with it. And you kaka the mountain. Say Jimobi. I know said I was talking to some people now. I was really a form. And in that form, I needed to put my salary there. And me trust her and I said, are you kidding me? Is that your salary? Is it fortnight? And I'm saying, that's a month. Keep quiet. You are only aware of this because we are filling a confidential document. Write it there. That is the money I take. And that is the money I go through this money and also pay the two secretaries for this money. I'm so grateful to God. Say, do man know you want? Don't for come and near chira on yet that. So also be sure benya on yet that. But do it from your heart. And God will bless you. Nyameno, who don't want to know some. Say Nyameno. The person told me, said, this money is just below my fortnight my fortnight, the person told me, confidence to tell me, say, look, this man is below what I take fortnight. Say what we say, we are over as a penny, ni bit your car, massa, and the near pay out Sanaka said, mean yet. But so don't who be sure, Eddie America, this is ratty. Meaning, say we have transactional leadership. Meaning, say, me, ya, dear, Osmo, I said, as I said, only panels ye be mammy. But I particularly know will not go for transactional leadership, especially with the benefit part. Say, ye be mobia, as in Nipane, as in Nipano, a bedamase, and as a Nipano, a bechim baby. No. Transactional leadership in a corporate organization has two primary roles. And as a child of God, you must be ready to play that role if you really want to do this job. Transactional leadership express that leaders are determined to motivate followers. For me, that is the area that I love. So, as a leader, you are motivating your followers to contribute to society by meeting their needs. You contribute to the society by meeting the needs of the people. This type of leadership makes room for people to be participants rather than spectators. You motivate them. Yes. Sometimes go for a so down on me when me was a cat, onto pizza. Monday was a Monday way. Just take it. I mean, you have to motivate people. If you don't do that, I saw there be a cut pizza, Pharisee Tinebra. I say a cockroach. Sometimes I'm just going, I'm chroma, let's get this. I said, do I give you receipt? I said, why am I taking the receipt? Leave the receipt. I'm doing it for God. So in osmosis theory, you must always motivate the people. Sometimes you back shut down, why jollof kakradi aba? And yet jollof no ma and fa bill ma say me jollof by and me beji husika. Motivate the people from the little that God has given you, and God will bless you. When I was talking to the senior president, I was going because they needed some support. And I said, I have two secretaries. I'll let one of them do this for you. He said, Papa, also one out here, I say yes. But I'm ready to let those secretaries still do extra work, even for people who need help. I'll say, I didn't think why won't God bless you? Why won't God bless you? The Lord will bless you. So be aware, may so. So the no see what no see obey juma na merade a won. Onyame betumi bie kwa bia ma wo a. Wo dwene ho won ti ase da. On ti ase da. You will never ever understand that. That will be ye be man am so. Pharisee bra na one reply me cry you. Well, just one reply me cry. Say, so na make and don't tea one reply me cry. I'm praying for dedication. I'm praying for leaders who will say we'll die for the Lord. I'm praying for leaders who will say that we'll make room for people to participate rather than allowing them to be spectators. Now, Kofoka and Astala, I'm denominating Kofodia and Yakra and favor because one will say Nipebia Bemua, one should to me abem. And that's all you will say. Who should Kauna Nipa, when I will call the Osumbo, when I call the Unkuto penny ye. Ntinkophobia ma bemu no and sem fata so mo bemu ntino the style we use is wrong, but don't give up. Continue to motivate people to do the work to the glory of God. Overbelly day, but in same don't follow with your heart. Don't follow with your heart. Just thank God. Thank God for the opportunity. Thank God for the glory that has come over your life. The last part of the type of leadership is a transformational leadership. For example, here in America, in the 60s, they really took this seriously. America took this type of leadership very seriously. In the words of Robert Quinney, Robert Osmo used a fitting catchphrase for this particular um, type of leadership. He said, deep change. Transformational leadership is where you bring deep change. So Osmo quoted Robert to say that transformational leadership is a deep change. For transformational leadership, he emphasized that this type of leadership entails an intense uprising. It's a revolution. Uprising. There's a serious change. And that change, a lot of people are not going to agree. You must keep moving to ensure that it will bring benefit to all of them. So let us do it. I was there when the moderator called me and said, Awuku-Gyampoh, have you changed your pews? I said, yes. He said, congratulations. And this is what he told me. Some people came to report you to me that you have changed the pews. And I use the opportunity to educate them. Say, we are in a transformational leadership era. So certain things must be changed. I see they thought they were coming to me that I'll tell them Osofo has done something wrong. If it is something wrong, it's something wrong. But for Osofo to change, to bring a change and say that the pews are out of date, let us use what do you call it? Modern chairs. And you have no other place to go but to go to the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. You say that the minister that has come, I don't like what he's doing at all. What is he doing? He has changed the chair that is so hard. Now, when I sit on that chair, without apology, my buttocks itches me. He has changed it for me. And you think this is a bad thing? Let me tell you, I, the moderator, when I was at Trinity United Church, they were using pews. I changed it. Some family never spoke to me because I've changed the pews to modern chairs. So what you're telling me is normal. People like you, they're always in the church. People like you, they're always in the church. But let me tell you, transformational leadership will bring deep change. People will not embrace the change. But when it happens like that, as leaders, let's be united to say, this change is good. If it is good, it's good. If it is good, it's good. For example, there's a great change that is coming. I like ascension. For me, I'll wholeheartedly give glory to God for bringing me to ascension. Ascension is a beautiful church. And to those who have done very well in putting their resources together to buy the property, you have done so well. I must applaud you. Let me tell you, in the next 5 years, Ascension must not use the house for the minister as a minister's residence. Listen to me. Listen to me. Ascension must begin to think outside the box and say, no, we need a house. We need a house. This thing when you bring in, people say, oh no, Nani Brad here, and I fear their man, it's so strong. And master, a transformational leader will tell you that this is a temporal place. This is a transit. We have a who person travel 1 month, 2 months, 3 months. When you be 4 years, 5 years, 6 years. In Deuteronomy chapter 1, verse 6, already captured Israel for some matter me put you watch. Mobile mechanics won't try me put you for just some few days. Not try me put you for so many years, almost 40 years, more than associate. More sorry na monko. Break camp and advance. So, Ascension congregation, the leadership must begin to have in mind, say, we are coming to change the mass. This is so simple. This is very simple. But you're going to meet opposition that will come and tell you, oh, I've been to that house before. The place is big. If it is big, come and rent it. Come and sit in. But transformation leadership will tell you, say, move out. Move. It's not me that wants to stay in this house. A transformational leader will always tell you, say, no, there must be a deep change. If you buy that house today and it is 300,000, in the next 4 years, it can move and rise to, just name the price yourself. Even if you don't want to live in that house, sell it, take your money back, and tell the soft who came to lead you to buy it. He said, I pay crowd, you're padding, you're Tony discount, Tony discount. This property, you bought it at 1.4, is now almost 2.4, almost 2.5. You can check the price, it's public information. You have done something that has yielded something great. By the time when you're doing it, I know some people will say, the house is too big, the property is too big, we don't need to move it. Let's stay at where we are. God bless the forerunners, those who had a dream and moved. It is a period of guiding the organization procedurally, through its philosophy, through its identity, through its aims and objectives for a complete adjustment. A transformation leader will always adjust. Will tell you, no. Let's adjust and move to this space. Let's move to this level. Let's move to that level. Let's move to that level. A transformation leader will always make sure there's a change. There's a change. There's a change. I pray that this type of leaders will bring changes. They will bring changes. They will bring changes. They will bring changes. In the name of Jesus. In the name of Jesus. They'll bring changes. Transformational leader. Osmo, bring the contextualization. This is called contextualization. He contextualizes in the congregational settings that the changes in the congregation may include sometimes the style of worship, sometimes the meeting days. Or Asia, open forum Sundays. But with the answer Sunday on Saturday, transformation leader will tell you no. And I'm telling you, write it yes, I may say. In the next, I said it the other day, in the next 10 years, the whole Presbyterian Church of Ghana, it will be a rule set. Obia menya, a friend is saying, forum Sunday. I'm telling you, may say, 10 years, if it may 1 week, if it may 1 year, if it may 2, but I'm telling you, sir, you need a transformation leader to tell you, say, open forums are not supposed to be done on Sunday. Until you get a transformation leader, you will still be repeating mistakes. May God make you a transformation leader. May God make you a transformation leader, a leader that will bring change and always tell people, say, we and yet, we ne yet. Yen so we so share. We be ye. Hey. Transformation leaders always bring administrative structures. Administrative structures, there be any way free, evangelism mode will be different. New membership class will be introduced. Youth ministry, different levels will come. This is what the theologian has said, and I bow for him. It's a brilliant idea he's giving us. Again, a transformational leader. A transformational leader will say that in transformational leadership, you are introducing changes. And he said the change is a significant change. It is what? It is risky. It is messy. It is costly. It's not straightforward. It's not linear. It's to say that it is something that is not direct. It's not by procedure. It feels so chaotic, especially the probational period. So when a transformational leader is bringing some change, beginning of the 25th crowd, yeah, sorry, the 25th crowd, you'll be out, grandma. What you know in the past should not inform your present too. Yeah, wouldn't even know what, baby. And let's assume, say, we are bringing something new. We are bringing some change. Now they say, sorry, 23rd. Yes, I've got 24th. Yes, I've got 25th. And I've got full crowd of program. Do I care? Does a transformation leader care? If someone has gotten, a friend is saying, Baby Kibin Okoye, so Okoye, care. What a transformational leader does is that I know this is risky. I know this is costly. I know this is not direct. I know this will bring chaos, but let me stay tuned to the vision of the church, to the vision of the people. This is why Osmo will say that he's cautioned that between the enacting the new order from the old order, the congregation must carefully monitor through visitation, motivational talks, dialogue to keep members' eye on the congregational vision. So whilst the changes is coming, explain to people, encourage those who come, encourage those who have made it, thank those who always do it, thank those who come, give report of what has happened. For example, the open forum, you give report and say it was fantastic. To be number two, see the end of Janipan. Say be a Bruce, be a year and a share Saturday and Coveba. Yet the baby dedication be a share and Coveba. Yet the party be a share and Coveba. By a day open forum, I Saturday. On pe changing tea, on pe changing tea. You don't need to worry yourself about this. Keep moving because it's a change. People don't like change, but change is good if it is done and done very well. It will bring the glory of God. Again, in summary, Erasmus analysis, tax competence, transformational, and transactional leadership are what required in every congregation. For example, the committee chairs, the leaders in the JY, the children's service, the group leaders, the pastors, they need some knowledge about all the tasks. Transformational leaders steer the process of the congregation's agenda. By doing what? By mobilizing members to achieve a mutual goal. They'll mobilize. For example, we want to buy a house. There's no money. Okay. Angela, give me 5,000. Okay. Gideon, give me 1,000. Barbara, give me 1,000. Papa Solo, can you give me 2,000? You're just loaning the church. And on the day, you're mobilizing people who is coming at the baby. Now, find Bibia, Afia, the family. You mobilize, I don't know, we now grab 100,000 and 150,000. Put a quarter down, I say, quarter down. Then you rather pay the people because how could this alone or banker interest in it very high. This is how we mobilize people. For example, in Australia, sorry, Ketwabi, they didn't have any money. We mobilized people. People brought their resources together. And by the time we realized we had bought it. And today that house that was bought at 800 is almost 1.4 million. You have almost 600,000 interest free. And if you put that money in the bank, you'll never get it. I'll pause for questions. No question, please. Okay. Do you hear me?
Yes, Papa.
Yes,
Okay.
Papa. Yes, Papa.
All right. So no question? Okay, that's fine. So let me continue. I'm going to the 3D, the 3D in leadership. It was also discovered by another researcher that brought the 3D, that if you want to be a leader in leadership, what do you need to do? Every leader needs to get a 3D. That's a vision pathway. So number one is that you have to, the D means one is discover, two is develop, and three is to deliver. So you can see from the first one, that is just like a pie chart, maybe a Venn diagram. You have a three Venn diagram. You have the intersection, which has been, let me get a blue one so that you get it. Yeah, so no, stop that. Yeah, so you have this one as a intersection. So it's like you have discovered something. What you have discovered, You need to develop that discovery, and that's the framework. So what was discovered here, you bring it to a framework, and then together with the framework, you deliver it. And now you see, one person can discover something. When you discover it, bring it to the session. Let's all develop it. Once we develop it, we deliver it. And you see, say, here you can see separate, separate, separate. But because it came to the dashboard, it has been well delivered. And you can see the developing with other visions, which has all been brought to one desk. The delivery of your vision is so important. You must always try to develop your vision. Okay, having done that, you also see how Mancini also said that leadership has three critical elements, and that's what I said. And Professor Neil and one of his students at the time in 2019, Professor Neil is an African professor in South Africa, and he has said that the youth get back to the church so that we must know who we are. To bring the youth back to church, we must first of all know who we are. So discover what you have in you. Let's also know our mission and then the nature of our activities. Then the critic came that what we do as a church deviates from Christ's mission. And most of the time, isn't it? I asked people why they were not in the welfare. And they give their own version. It could be true, it could not be true. That's it. Ask people why they are not in some group. The reasons they give could be true, could not be true. But we see it to say that. See, jai eyimu, we say. We that we should not deviate from Christ's mission. Christ brings all people on board. Therefore, the church has to break that kind of disjoint, the dichotomy between our identity and our mission. We must make sure we do away with the separation and bring about dialogue, bring about togetherness, that who we are and what Christ wants us to be will not deviate. Okay. The next one has to do with how you discern, how you advance, and how you bring things to be. I've explained that extensively. Nelson Mandela, one time South African president who brought a lot of changes, said that it is better to lead from behind and put others in front, especially when you celebrate victory. When you celebrate victory, when nice things occur. So here, you can only take the front line when there is a danger. So, in other words, for me, how I understand Nelson's assertion is that if a leader does the homework very well, you will sometimes be behind, and others will be administering. Others will be doing it because you have done your homework very well. Then people appreciate your leadership. And as I say to me, deɛ ahyia a yɛsua adeɛ kokoam. Nanso adanse ni bɛpie because of our togetherness, because of our oneness. Let others take the front seat. Let others do ABCD. Help others to rise. Who is leader? Mankrofo impeja. Mankrofo peja, also peja. A leader that does not help others to rise can never rise in any way. The person's commitment and family bond was also found to be a great thing. So for no that anymore. So no one can to one cha nye juma. Jumada. I spoke to Professor Kajila when I was preparing my work, and he wrote to me and said I have permission to use his documents. So Kajila, 2010, Lamb, 2016, and McIntosh argue that pastors' prayer life, pastors' communication, pastors' vision, pastors' patience, pastors' respect for time, and pastors' style of leadership will impact the church and will impact church attendance. So it is up to us to help the pastor to love prayer. When the church is organizing prayer, the leadership should be there. And then the shares of phone crying. And then the shares of phone crying. The communication. So that only nipa kasa. The niswadi hono. Or the pastor the be sum. Because there or no there ni mono. Or be sum da ye no. Or so that any is someone. Or say no na many penny you. Na butre. And he said will be determined. The style of leadership. I didn't think I had to quiz the clerk so that you know that the pastor is not a latecomer, but the pastor did advance what do you call it, communication. So that will not also affect you. So the cockrass of late, his respect for time will help. Just before him say started sorry 10 o'clock. On trainer and more 10:05. And son acquire for M4 solo. The car for there was some before the car for was some perform who said I got 3 minutes to 10. I want to back say but your time soon papa CMRA no call. These are things that we do. That's why we have people in all the groups so that they'll be able to also stand in to help them and to prompt them to do the work and do it very well. Next one. Good leadership builds youth ministry. One of the great writers in the United States is Rayner and Rayner. Rayner and Rayner 2008 posted that young adults from the mid-20s require a strong relationship with the church leadership. Nisa we as a friend, young person be. Nya feel like I said, they are tarpoton washan, there be over pamon. It is saying, build a relationship. Now, I want to say, on 1 year, yo, Eddie say, Yamin shop the break. Why are there? So, so we are deal. Okay, reading the way in year power. Where they also kind power, encourage them. They require stronger relationship with the church leadership to feel part of the church's administration. Oh, wait a minute, I told you, we're going to catch a papa na odo ashe ebie music group mana wa ma bibia you are sorry, let them feel part of the church. Youth stay in the church if they feel connected. Osamdodu is a Methodist minister, Reverend Dr. Osamdodu, and he did a study in 2021, and he says that the youth feel very committed and connected and involving when they are part of the church. The leader must be like a child. Professor Root, I love him. I've used most of his writings. Professor Root is of the view that God requires church leaders to be humble like a child and reflect our confident proclamation about him. And so be person kesia omre na kuma ase enya mema ne ye kese ne oma ne ho so no erade brand ase. And obenfo Root say onyame pese ya akoma te se emufra a onyame atumi asiesie ama atumi anya baabi nso atena ewa asase so. That God used prophets and kings to lead his people in the Old Testament. Israel had a king called King Saul and King David. And from there we got Solomon. And from Solomon we got Rehoboam and Jeroboam. It was in the time of Rehoboam that the kingdom was divided into two. Those who will be ministers, I'll be teaching you those things in some time. And many others. So God also appointed people like Moses and Joshua to guide his chosen ones. So you as leaders, God has chosen you in a time as this, that he has a role for you. In the New Testament as well, the church appointed leaders to manage the church. Paul, for example, indicated that he purposefully left Titus to ensure that the church selected the exemplary leadership that he has. Nti, edikanfoɔ no, Paul yɛ adwuma bebree of nkurɔfoɔ te sɛ Timothy, Apollos, nkurɔfoɔ te sɛ Titus no mu, na bere biara no wɔte nsɔre na ɔde wɔn akɔte ano sɛ wɔne wɔn anante, nti wɔnim nea ɛwɔ mu. Wɔn asua nso afiri Paul nkyɛn, nti ɔte asɔre no ano de wɔn akɔsi hɔ sɛ wɔntumi mmua ma asɔre no ntumi nkɔ so. So it is evident that the church must not neglect the impact of congregational leadership. Asɔre ɛyɛ abatoɔ rough na abatoɔ no yɛmfa yɛn ho andi mu a yɛbɛnya mpanimfoɔ a yɛbɛtena ase aka sɛ mpanimfoɔ yi wɔnyɛ hwee. Nti abatoɔ biara yɛ ade a ɛho hia asɔre no sɛ abere biara no yɛyi mpanimfoɔ a yɛgye sɛ ɔbɛtumi ayɛ adwuma na ɔmayɛ adwuma no nso ahyɛ Nyankopɔn din anuonyam. Leadership is all involving. Whatever affects one directly affects all indirectly. And it is obi ɛwɔ yaw mu a ɛsɛ ɛboa nipa no ofiri mu. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. For me, that has been my philosophy. Say me pese me ye kese, I say me mo bi ye kese. Nti obi a me ne ye adwuma bia, make sure say onya befa me so na si baabi. Isan say se nipa na nye kese a me ye kese da. Se nipa na ye ketwa me ye ketwa kra. It's an interrelated structure of reality. That's reality for you. The benefit will be say, ama yonko entwa nkwa a wontwa nnu. Ana mo kan say, ama yonko entwa nkono a onzo ntwa du. Ɛyɛ wama yonko entwa nkwa a wontwa endu. Ya no almost ato nyumi. Makoto busa masrochi mu. Ɛnyɛ saa. Amusan asrochi mu. Akota amusan asrochi mu. Afeme hu Jesus utumazina. Makoma ashema eguso. Ahusan asrochi mu. Enye obonsam makoto obonsam asrochi. Obonsam asrochi the way de koto. Rade ma unkoto mu ne biara da. Di bua unua bi no nyina ne nanso. Bua unua bi no ye kese o. Na unua ne ye kese a. Ndo bi biara wa na adwen se opese obre obi ase no. Onye yida. Onye yida. Me hu bi so mi wiase mu da se obi pese obre obi ase no yida. So when young people take up a leadership role, it enhances their active involvement in the youth program, and your church will grow. Your church will grow. It's a fifi, any magi, abba forward some more year studio their mind. And right, yeah, Mama Matilda, Papa Nim, Sister Barbara, buy it. And it was so lovely. And Ranty John Fioma Tomokao. Abba betrasod down say, yeah, recordings and our program. And you think these young people will not bring their friends? Until we involve the young people, our church will never grow. Our church will be stagnant. Our church can never see life. We can think we can do it because we are grown. But look, we need sustainability. And we must bring the young people to the church to move the church forward. As I bring my message to an end, struggles are part of one's life, right? Struggles are part. So Martin Luther King said that change does not roll in on the wheels of inevitability, but comes through continuous struggle. And so we must strengthen our backs and work for our freedom. A man can't ride you unless your back is bent. Tie, no can say, one go to mobi, I want to mean for chida. One go to mobi, I want to mean from for a cheat and see from when that. And baby, Yankopodi ababeduno, yembuye. Si ebuye ho enipa so bebuye. Si ebuye ho wona ye di omachi no bebuye. Respect yourself. And once you respect yourself, you know beko. You know be DSC. You be kan sama to so. And kwa de ebi ensia na say wunye ogidini. You be chechire nsam de agu so. Na so Bible say meyenka e mane mmemu de pierata. A man can't ride you unless your back is bent. May the Lord help us to stand tall. And I recommend to you as we become presbyters that change in leadership and change in environment is essential for church growth. And unti, here said committees, sound. And unti here said a second penny for a sound. In this area, because I've been with me at 10 years. Yes, it's our. But change in leadership is always perfect. It's always blessed. When the young people are involved, number two, when the young people are involved in planning the activities, it arouses their interest and builds their leadership skills. Modern church activities boost youth participation. What are we adding to the church? To let people be so strong. What are we adding to the church? To boost the participation of young people. Recommendation 3. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verse 1. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, put the ways of childhood behind. So this is Paul, who is going to the Corinth church. And now that we have become presbyters, it's leadership by example, portrayed. What we portray as parents to our children will lead into maturity. What we portray to the people as presbyters, people know who are no anymore, no din Phoebe, or no din Phoebe near dear. Let the difference be clear. So now you are an elder. How you handle yourself depends on how the people. I've seen a few people say, Papa, only nipa is free. That is my nature. If you have come closer to me, you will see, say, I'm very strict. But in the public domain, I'm free with everyone. But some them, if I will say, Papa, no, strict. That's it. Give people the freedom, but give them a limit. Give them the freedom. But when it's yes, it's yes. When it's no, it's no. When it's supposed to be done this way, it's supposed to be done that way and nothing else. But be free with people. But give them the limits. And say, this one, no. That one, no. It's not going to happen. And I pray, say, the Lord will help you. And become a very great personality on this earth. Recommendation number 4. The church should intentionally disciple people by giving them teachings, making sure the leadership will be an example. Discipleship counseling to develop the younger generation's faith. And what I've realized is that we need to do more of teachings. Preaching is good, but we need to come down to the people and teach them. Into one Christianium, who names any. I see a church room. And this was part of my recommendation I gave in my studies. So I'll end it here. I know I have a lot, but let me end it here. And then I'll use the rest of the minute. I was looking for 1 hour, 20 minutes. So use the 10 minutes for interaction, and then we close. God. Mama Bani, and then I'll tell you. Mama Brefokasi, then I'll tell you. Sister Millicent Obwadi, then I'll tell you. Okay, so I'm going to take it off Facebook or off what do you call it? I'm going to take it off YouTube. Okay, I'm going to take it off YouTube. Then we can do the internal interactions. May the Lord bless you if you had a chance to listen. There's nothing that the truth and it's scholarly. So intellectual is an intellectual property of my work, developing biblical strategies in church retention. May the Lord bless you and keep you. My name is Awuku-Gyampoh. God bless you and bye-bye.